you are doing everything right. You read the books. You follow the routines. You set the boundaries. You show up every single day with everything you have, and you are still exhausted, still second-guessing yourself, and still watching your child struggle with emotions that feel too big for both of you to handle. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet question keeps coming back. What am I missing? Here is the answer nobody in your parenting group is talking about. You are not missing a technique. You are not missing discipline or structure or consistency. You are working from the wrong map. Much of Western parenting culture is built on a single belief, one idea that sits underneath almost every piece of advice, every sleep training method, every discipline strategy, every milestone chart. That idea is this: the goal of childhood is independence. Raise them to need you less. Teach them to self-soothe. Encourage them to be their own person. Don't create dependency. Don't coddle. Don't hover. Step back so they can step forward. It sounds right. It feels right. It has been repeated so many times and by so many people that most parents have never once stopped to question it. But here is what happens when you make independence the goal of early childhood. You are asking a nervous system that is not finished being built to carry a weight it was never designed to carry alone. And a nervous system under that kind of pressure does not become independent. It becomes anxious. It becomes dysregulated. It becomes a child who melts down in the supermarket, who cannot handle transitions, who clings harder the more you try to encourage them to let go. The very thing you were promised independence would fix, it is making worse. Now here is where Japan comes in. Japanese parents are not raising children the way Western parenting books tell you to. They are operating from a completely different belief about what children actually need in their early years. And the results are visible, not in test scores or achievement metrics, but in something far more fundamental. The children are calmer, more emotionally grounded, more able to sit with discomfort without falling apart. So what are Japanese parents doing differently? There are 5 specific things, and by the time we get to the last one, the way you think about your child's behavior will never be quite the same. Before we get into the cultural differences, let's understand what the science says is actually happening inside a young child's brain. A child under the age of 6 does not have a fully developed prefrontal cortex. That is the part of the brain responsible for regulating emotions, making decisions, and managing impulse control. What this means in practical terms is simple. A young child cannot talk themselves down from a big emotion. They cannot logic their way through fear or frustration. They cannot self-regulate, no matter how many times they are told to calm down or use their words. What they can do is co-regulate. They can borrow the calm of a regulated adult nervous system to settle their own. They can feel safety through proximity and through the consistent warm presence of a caregiver who is not overwhelmed by their emotions. Researchers studying emotional development in early childhood have found that children who experience consistent co-regulation in their early years develop stronger self-regulation skills later, not weaker ones. In other words, the path to independence runs directly through dependence first. You cannot skip the first step and arrive at the second. Japanese parenting culture has understood this, not through academic research, but through generations of lived wisdom that has been passed down and preserved. Let's look at how it shows up. Cultural Contrast 1. Amae, the permission to depend. There is a word in Japanese that does not have a direct translation in English. The word is amae. It roughly means the freedom and safety to depend on someone who loves you, to lean into another person without fear of being pushed away, to need someone and have that need met with warmth instead of correction. In Japanese parenting culture, Amae is not seen as a weakness to be corrected. It is not coddling. It is not creating a spoiled child. It is considered a foundation. The belief is that a child who is allowed to fully depend on their parent, who never has to wonder whether their need will be welcomed or rejected, develops a deep inner security. A settled nervous system. A confidence that comes not from being told they are capable, but from having felt completely safe. Think about what Western parenting culture does with dependence. A baby cries and is left to self-soothe. A toddler clings and is encouraged to be brave. A child wants to stay close and is gently pushed toward independence. Every one of those moments sends a quiet message. Your need is too much. Handle it yourself. Amae says the opposite. Your need is welcome here. Come as close as you need to. And the children raised with that message, they are not more dependent as they grow. They are more secure, more able to venture out, more able to come back, refuel, and go again. Because they know, without any doubt, that the base is always there. Cultural contrast 2. Discipline without shame. Watch how a Japanese parent handles a child who misbehaves in public, and you will see something that looks almost nothing like what most Western parents have been taught to do. There is no raised voice. There is rarely a sharp correction in front of others. There is almost never a public shaming moment where the child is made to feel small in front of other people. Instead, Japanese parents tend to get physically close to the child. They lower their voice. They speak quietly. They address the behavior privately, even in a crowded space, in a way that preserves the child's dignity while still being clear about what was wrong. This is not permissiveness. Japanese parents are not avoiding discipline. They are delivering it in a completely different way. The underlying belief is this: a child who is shamed for their behavior learns to hide. A child whose dignity is protected while their behavior is corrected learns to trust the person correcting them. And a child who trusts the person correcting them is far more likely to actually change. Much of Western discipline culture, timeouts, public corrections, raised voices, consequences delivered in anger, operates on shame as the primary mechanism. The child feels bad enough about what they did, and that feeling is supposed to stop the behavior. But shame does not teach. Shame dysregulates. It floods the nervous system with exactly the kind of stress response that makes self-control harder, not easier. Discipline without shame says, I will correct your behavior without making you feel that you are bad. And that distinction changes everything about how a child receives the message. Cultural contrast 3. Emotional narration instead of distraction. When a young child is upset in many Western parenting contexts, the first instinct is distraction. Look at this toy. Want a snack? Let's go do something fun. Don't cry, it's okay. The emotion is treated like a problem to be solved as quickly as possible. Something to move past and move on from. Japanese parenting culture takes a different approach. Instead of distracting a child away from their feelings, Japanese parents tend to narrate them. They name what the child is feeling. They describe it out loud. They sit with the child inside the emotion rather than pulling them out of it. You're feeling sad because we had to leave. That makes sense. It was really fun and it's hard to stop something you love. This sounds small. But what it does inside a child's brain is enormous. When a child's emotional experience is named and validated by a calm adult, two things happen. First, the emotion loses some of its power because it has been seen and acknowledged. It doesn't have to grow louder to be heard. Second, the child's brain begins to build a vocabulary for what is happening inside them. And a child who can name their emotions is a child who can eventually begin to manage them. Distraction teaches a child that feelings are things to escape. Emotional narration teaches a child that feelings are things to understand. One produces a child who is controlled by their emotions. The other produces a child who is slowly learning to live alongside them. Cultural Contrast 4. The Role of Nature and Boredom. Japanese children spend a significant amount of time outside, not in structured activities, not in organized play, just outside. In nature. In parks. In open spaces where nothing is planned and nothing is scheduled and nothing is designed to stimulate or entertain them. And they are allowed to be bored. This is increasingly rare in Western childhood culture where every moment tends to be filled. Screens, activities, classes, playdates, educational toys, the relentless effort to keep children engaged and stimulated and learning at all times. But boredom is not empty. Boredom is where a child's inner world develops. It is where imagination grows because it has to. It is where a child learns to sit with discomfort, the discomfort of nothing happening, and discover that they can survive it, that they can even find something inside it. Nature adds another layer. Time in natural environments has been shown to lower cortisol levels in children. It reduces anxiety. It regulates the nervous system in a way that no screen and no structured activity can replicate. Japanese parenting trusts boredom. It trusts nature. It trusts that a child left alone in a safe outdoor space with nothing to do will not fall apart. They will grow. Cultural Contrast 5. Group Identity over Individual Achievement. From very early on, Japanese children are raised with a strong sense of belonging to something larger than themselves, their family, their classroom, their community. The question that drives much of Western childhood is, what makes you special? The question that drives much of Japanese childhood is, how do you contribute to the people around you? This is not about suppressing individuality. It is about giving a child a place to belong. A role. A sense of being needed by and connected to others. And belonging, real, felt belonging, is one of the most powerful regulators of the human nervous system that exists. A child who knows they have a place, who feels genuinely part of something, carries a kind of inner steadiness that achievement and individual praise simply cannot produce. Here is what much of Western parenting culture's focus on independence is quietly producing. Children who are more anxious than any previous generation. Children who have been given every advantage and still struggle to regulate their emotions. Children who have been praised so consistently for their individuality that they have no idea how to function as part of a group. Children who were pushed toward independence so early that their nervous systems never got the foundation they needed to actually get there. The results are all around us, and most parents are exhausted from trying harder and harder at something that was never going to work the way they were told it would. But here is what needs to be said clearly, and without any softening. Western parents are not failing because they are lazy or careless or unloving. They are failing because they were handed the wrong map and told it was the only one that existed. Every piece of advice, every book, every well-meaning relative, every pediatrician visit, they all pointed in the same direction and said, independence, earlier, faster, more. You followed the map you were given. That is not failure, that is trust. And now you have a different map in your hands. What you do with it from here, that is where your story changes. Now let's be honest about something important, because this video would be doing you a disservice if it only told you one side. Japanese parenting is not a perfect system. Japanese children face enormous academic pressure. The school culture in Japan can be intensely competitive and emotionally demanding. Conformity, the flip side of group identity, can suppress children who think or feel differently from the group. And the pressure to not stand out, to not cause disruption, to always put the group first carries its own psychological weight. Some researchers argue that what looks like calm in Japanese children is sometimes compliance. And compliance and genuine emotional regulation are not the same thing. The honest takeaway is not that Japan has all the answers and the West has none. It is that Japanese parenting culture has preserved certain things, Amae, emotional narration, connection before correction, that the science strongly supports. And those specific things are worth borrowing, regardless of everything else. Take what works. Leave what doesn't. That is what good parenting has always looked like. There is a concept in neuroscience that explains why everything we have talked about today actually works. It is called felt safety. Not actual safety. Felt safety. The experience inside the body, inside the nervous system, of being genuinely safe in the presence of another person. A child's brain cannot develop properly without felt safety. It cannot regulate emotions, build connections, or grow the parts of itself responsible for learning and empathy and self-control, not without a nervous system that has first been allowed to rest inside the felt safety of a consistent, warm, responsive relationship. Amae is felt safety. Emotional narration creates felt safety. Discipline without shame preserves felt safety. Time in nature restores it. Every single thing that Japanese parenting culture does differently points back to the same thing. Give the child's nervous system what it needs to feel safe. And then, watch what it builds from there. If this is shifting the way you think about what your child actually needs from you, you are exactly who this channel is for. We break down the real science behind child development every week, without the jargon and without the judgment. Here are 3 Japanese parenting principles you can bring into your home starting today. First, practice Amae once a day. Pick one moment every day where your child comes to you with a need, to be held, to be close, to have your attention, and instead of redirecting them toward independence, simply give it. Fully. Without making them feel that needing you is inconvenient. One moment of complete welcome every day begins to rebuild the felt safety their nervous system is looking for. Second, name the emotion before you solve the problem. The next time your child is upset, resist the instinct to fix it or distract from it. Instead, say what you see. You're really frustrated right now. That felt unfair. You wanted more time, and it ended too soon. Just name it. You don't have to solve it. The naming itself is the intervention. Do this consistently, and within weeks you will begin to see a child who moves through emotions faster because they no longer have to fight to be understood. Third, give them 10 minutes of unstructured outdoor time every day. No phones, no planned activity, just outside. Let them be bored. Let them figure out what to do with a stick or a patch of dirt or the sound of the wind. 10 minutes of this every day does more for a child's nervous system regulation than almost any structured activity you could plan for them. You do not need a new technique. You do not need a stricter routine or a better reward chart or a different approach to timeouts. What you need is a new belief about what your child is actually asking for when they are difficult, clingy, emotional, and hard to manage. They are not giving you a behavior problem to solve. They are giving you a nervous system that needs to feel safe.
And when that alarm goes off,
a child who is asking in the
when
only
the safe
language
place
they
suddenly
have,
becomes the source
whether
of
you
fear.
are going to be their anchor
The baby is
or
left
their
holding an
obstacle.
emotion that is too big for their body,
Japanese
too heavy
parenting
for their
culture
heart,
answers that
and
question the
completely
same way,
impossible for their mind to
generation
process.
after generation.
Because they have no mind to
I
process it with
am your
yet.
anchor.
They
Come
only have the
as
feeling.
close as you need to.
What
I
babies
will
feel
not
without
push
words.
you away before you are
So what
ready
is
to
that
go.
feeling exactly? Let me try to say what they
Calm
cannot.
children do
I
not
don't know the
come from
word for what
stricter
this is.
parenting.
I don't know
They
any
do not
words at
come from
all,
better
but I know your
consequences
face
or
better than I know
earlier
anything in
independence
this
or
world.
more consistent
I have been
routines.
studying it since before I
They
was
come
born.
from something much
And
simpler
right now, your face is
and
saying
much
something I
harder
have
than
never
any
seen
of those
before.
things.
Something
They
that
come
makes
from
my
a
chest
child
feel
who
tight
woke
and
up
my
enough
breath feel
mornings
short and my
inside the
whole
felt
body want to
safety
hold
of
on
someone who loved
and
them,
never let go.
not perfectly,
I can't
not
help you.
without frustration,
I don't know
not
how.
without hard days,
I don't even know what
but
helping means.
consistently.
All I know is that you are
Warmly,
my safe place, and
with a
right now,
presence
my
that
safe
said
place is
over and
breaking.
over again
And if you
without
break,
words,
I don't know what I
you
am.
are safe here.
I don't know where I am.
You are known here.
I don't know that anything
you
is
belong
okay.
here.
So I cry.
That is what
Not
Japanese
because I
parenting has
understand,
quietly been doing
but
for
because my body
generations.
has to do something
And
with all
it is
of this.
available to you,
Because I feel
not as a
everything you
cultural
feel,
import,
and I have nowhere to put
not
it.
as a parenting
Please come
philosophy
back.
you have to
Please come
study
back
and
to me.
master,
Because
just
when you come
as
back,
a choice,
I know everything will be okay
made
again.
one moment
That
at
is
a
not
time.
poetry written to make you emotional.
To be the safe
That is
place your
developmental
child's
psychology,
nervous system has
translated
been
into the
searching
only
for.
language that makes it real.
That is the whole
The
secret.
truth that sets you free.
That has always been the whole
Now,
secret.